This is CJ Ferry from Spindle City Straight Talk. And I have a commentary for you regarding our most recent actions by our administration here in Fall River, which I think is kind of questionable. As many of you are aware, on Wednesday, March 1st, the mayor offered his, what I call, the State of the Republic address to the city. It was more like a political stump speech. And it could have been viewed as the fact that many people in the audience were screaming out 2 more years, 2 more years. And really, while the mayor spoke very eloquently on some of the proposals he has for Fall River, he really didn't give us any definition or way that he was going to fund that. After the debacle that occurred on the previous night, on February 28th, when the mayor, under Ordinance 2-55, called for a special city council meeting, which was to pass the contract for the Teamsters, which, as many of our viewers and people of Fall River and elsewhere know, there are some questions in that contract that we have. And I have to say very clearly that I think it's interesting that even the union leadership and their attorney came out against the commentary by my co-host Chip Camara and myself when we're presenting the law. We're not presenting opinions, we're presenting the law. And there are certain things that must happen in those contracts. But because of what happened then, the mayor, kind of put out an olive branch for a, spirit of cooperation. But, he has consistently, and I do mean consistently, made sure that in this alleged spirit of cooperation, that he doesn't really explain what that spirit of cooperation is going to be, shall we say? And that creates another tenuous situation at best. And, you have to ask yourself, is this really what Fall River needs? Is this really what Fall River wants? And I have to say, I don't know, maybe not. But what he did after that meeting did not show any maturity. It did not show any spirit of cooperation. It did not show anything along that line. He showed and demonstrated a spirit of dictatorial behavior. He immediately turned around after giving this speech, listened to a local radio station, and he heard people making some comments about the speech that they didn't agree with, many of which I'm making now. And he came out and said very clear, and attacked those commentaries, those opinions of people. And he even attacked the host of that radio show. That's not mature. When you're in politics, when you're in the limelight, when you're a celebrity, you have to grow a thick skin. You have to be able to say to yourself, okay, that's his opinion, and while I may not agree with it, and it may be a personal attack on me, I got to grow a thick skin and I got to move beyond it. Instead, he again threw a temper tantrum. And we've seen these temper tantrums before. He threw one on his own radio show, the Sixth Floor Report, with the Ministry of Propaganda. And that is really a propaganda show, in my opinion. And you have to ask yourself, why? Now, unknown to the city council, he has been actively seeking to get his healthcare center scenario back in the limelight. And I have a little bit of a problem with that, because he's trying to use healthcare mitigation funds. The mitigation fund is created to offset the extreme costs that the employees and the retirees may get from catastrophic health crisis. It can also be used to defray the cost of the healthcare plan in general, meaning that the employees and the retirees will save some money on their premiums. The mayor wants to use it to pay for a building to put a healthcare center in that there is no proven savings for as of yet. And when questioned on the savings that they've tried to prove, they got to go back and rework the numbers. Doesn't that seem awfully familiar? Now, the administration doesn't seem to understand. The people aren't looking to attack you. The people are asking the questions. But I must say, Mr. Mayor, that your administrative decision to unceremoniously terminate Dave Machado as the retiree representative to the IAC so that you can shove this plan down the PEC's back and then turn around and have this go to the PEC, get approved to go to the city council for them to approve, just is not acceptable. You need to be very clear on the law and what this money can and cannot be used for. You, Mr. Mayor, are not the law. And Attorney Joe Macy is not the law. They're his opinions. And what you want is what you want. And the behavior that you're creating appears almost dictatorial. You appointed Michael Hoare, former Sergeant Michael Hoare, former Chief of Staff Michael Hoare, to the retiree representative of the IAC. And that is a mayoral appointment, and that's your right. But it is clearly a rubber stamp. Now, when we look back at the reason why Michael Hoare resigned, he resigned because he didn't have time. He didn't have the time to devote to this. But he's serving on boards and commissions all over the place where you're having difficulty. It seems, it appears, because you need that rubber stamp. Statements from the boards and commissions now as we do what we're told is unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. And as long as that is the behavior of this administration, as long as that is the impression of the employees in government center, you are creating a hostile work environment, which could be an entirely other type of labor claim. You have approved contracts which have not been costed out. And under 150E, they all must be costed out. You have not done that. So if somebody wanted to file this for an arbitration, or it had to go to the JLMC for fire or police, guess what? They won't even hear it because the contracts are not costed out. You must put the cost in the contract, anywhere there's a potential cost. Your current DCM contract creates a blank check. I know you knew this, Mr. Mayor. But the one thing I do know is you are familiar with the rules, you're familiar with the regulations, and you knew that even if you called that city council meeting, you couldn't have the contract approved. You were on the city council for 2 years. And before you start calling out people about not showing up for city council meetings, I want to remind you, you didn't show up for many city council meetings either. And that is also public record. For all the zombies out there who think this man can do no wrong, or can do no right, or whatever the case may be, don't base it on your heart. Base it on facts. Base it on your mind. Think with it logically. It is this type of behavior that has consistently put Fall River in the decadent situation that it's currently in. And if we as a community do not do anything to correct this issue, we as a community are the ones that will suffer tremendously. That's my opinion, and I thank you for listening. Have a great day.